Chris here, and welcome to my channel. Or should I say, Chris and Cielo here, and welcome to our channel, since she's so insistent on being in every video. And we're welcoming you to this week's vlog. So, if you saw the end of last week's vlog, which I just filmed the clip for, I'm basically feeling very slumpy, but I'm currently in the midst of 3 books, and I would like to finish them. I've got 3 hours left in the Mortal Coil, and at the speed I'm listening to it at, that should take me an hour. I've got 2 hours left in the Battle of the Labyrinth, which should take me 40 minutes. And I think I've got 6 hours left in the Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which should take me 2 hours. So my goal is to finish these 3 books before I pick up anything else, because I keep putting off finishing Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and I don't want to keep doing that. So that is my plan. I'm going to read those 3, then I'm going to dive into the rest of my many books and hopefully break my slump, because I will be able to go, okay, what am I in the mood to read right now, which isn't necessarily fantasy. I kind of want to read some cozy mysteries, and I can't do that right now because none of the books I'm currently reading are cozy mysteries. So that is my plan. I'm going to read those. This one is kneading my arm with her claws because she's a very naughty kitty. I'm going to look like a pincushion. So I'm going to go read and put her down because she is heavy, and I'd rather she need my blankets than my arm. And I will check back in with you after I finish those 3 books, because I swear if it doesn't happen today, it will absolutely happen tomorrow. I just don't know if I will manage to squeeze it in today because I have dynamite. But I'm going to give it my best go, and I will either check back in with you tomorrow morning because I finished all 3 of those today, or sometime on Thursday after I finish whatever I don't finish today. It's now Sunday, and I thought I would check in. I had planned to check in earlier, but I had said I wasn't going to check in until I finished, what was it, Mortal Coil, the Battle of the Labyrinth, and Daughter of the Moon Goddess. And basically, I believe I finished those, like, the last of those Thursday or Friday. Daughter of the Moon Goddess took me longer than I thought it was going to. Mainly because of the fact that I forgot when I said what I said, that 1, I was slumpy, and 2, my outdoor cat, / feral, / stray, / whatever you want to call him, had a vet appointment. So we had decided we were going to bring him to the vet because we looked out one night and one of his pupils was much smaller than the other, and I got nervous. The vet wasn't massively worried. Every single time. The vet wasn't massively worried because she said that it was likely trauma. He probably just bumped his head. As long as he wasn't acting any different, not to worry about it too much, but bring him in, they'd check him out. But they didn't have an open appointment for like 2 weeks because only one of their vets was in the office. The other 2 were on vacation. So she was kind of swamped. And right before it got cold, and this was 24th? I'm like looking at the calendar. I believe it was the 24th of February. It went below 0, and we've been bringing him in and putting him in my bathroom when it gets that cold so that he's not outside. Because he normally sleeps on our porch. And we just kept him in because he had a vet appointment next week, and we were like, rather than put him back out, because it was a couple days where it was really cold, and we figured we just keep him in, bring him to the vet. My mom came home to tell me afterwards, because obviously I can't go because they do not require masks, and I will not go in the building. And being in the car just makes me extremely anxious. So I stayed home. She got home and she told me that he didn't have a cold. It was, she said feline leukemia. So I knew a little bit about that, and based on what I Googled, that was dangerous to have around the cat. So we decided we were going to get him tested. That way, even if he did have it, we'd at least know, and he'd have to go back outside. So we got him tested. He was positive, and I was really upset. But I was dreading this appointment. So this appointment was Friday. Today is Sunday. I didn't check in because I was focused on that and did not want to be on camera. And come to find out, he does not have feline leukemia. He has FIV, which I believe is like feline immunodeficiency virus. And that is a lot less dangerous to have around the other cats. It's mainly if he is bleeding. It is a blood thing. So as long as he's not like sinking his teeth into the other cats and vice versa, and he's not actively got like, say, a sinus infection or something like that, the odds of it being transmitted are very, very low. So he is still inside, and we're going to slowly try to work them so that they can kind of sort of be around each other. But for the most part, we don't want to take any unnecessary risks because almost all of our cats were outdoor cats at one point, and they tend to play rough, so we just don't want to risk it. But that was a weight off my mind. And then Saturday, as this one nibbles on me, I had to go get some stuff from Target, which I had been putting off. So I did that and did not feel like filming yesterday because, well, I was drained. So I have a lot to update you on, and this one's not going to be very helpful. So first, I will mention that I finished Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I've already brought that back to the library because it was massively overdue. And I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. I think if I had been able to just sit and read it and I hadn't put it down, it might have gotten the 5. But I'm in a very fantasy slump, especially adult fantasy or even like YA, because there's a debate. I've seen different ratings for it, and I don't know. It just wasn't what I wanted to be reading, even though I enjoyed it. So I think if I had just been able to read it, I probably would have given it 5 stars. I did really enjoy it despite the slump, so that says a lot about it. It basically follows the Daughter of the Moon Goddess, whose name I'm not going to be able to think of, and I can't look it up. But we're following the Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and the Moon Goddess is kind of trapped due to something that she did that displeased the Emperor, and her daughter basically ends up coming down to the regular world where she tries to win her mother's freedom. That's basically the essentials of the story, is that, well, 1, that the Emperor doesn't know that the Moon Goddess has a daughter, and 2, the daughter manages to escape before being found out and works to free her mother. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed it and would highly recommend it, and I believe it's got a sequel. Like, it's a duology, I think. So I would definitely be down to read the next book in the series. She's got her claws in my arm, guys. I also finished Mortal Coil. This is the 5th book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series. They changed audiobook narrators, which really threw me for a loop. I gave this book 4 stars. Part of it, I definitely think, was the audiobook narrator. This had some quite interesting happenings when it came to Skullduggery and Val, especially Val. And it took some twists and turns I wasn't expecting. The endings of these books always tend to be bombshell and make me want to pick up the next one. And I'm very curious to see, again, where Val's journey continues to go. So I'm enjoying my read of the series, and I'm glad that I picked it as one of my series to continue. Speaking of that, I've also read Not a Creature Was Purring. I read this in one sitting. I wanted to read a cozy mystery so bad, so I was so glad when I could pick this up, because this was, I think, the first book I picked up after I finished the 3 I needed to finish. So this follows Holly, and she works at a inn that caters to pets with her grandmother. And in this one, a family is coming to visit for Christmas, and the kind of grandfather patriarch of the family ends up being found murdered, and Holly gets roped into figuring out who did it, especially when her Aunt Bertie becomes the main suspect. I gave this book 4.25 stars. I think I would have enjoyed this more had I been reading it at Christmas time, because it's a Christmas themed book, and there's very good Christmassy vibes. I was not at all expecting the murderer to be the murderer, so I really enjoyed the mystery aspect. I wasn't as huge a fan of the personal stuff, but I really enjoyed the mystery, and I'm curious to see what happens next for Holly and Co. Then I did my reread of not only The Battle of the Labyrinth, but The Last Olympian. I gave The Battle of the Labyrinth 4.5 stars. I think this might be my least favorite book in the series, even though I really enjoy it. And I gave The Last Olympian 5 stars. It was so nice to be back with Percy and Co. to finish up their journey, especially considering I now know we're getting another book that will be about the trio. I am very, very curious where that goes. I also love, because there were definitely things in both of these books I was like, wait, what? I don't remember that happening. So I'm really glad I'm doing my reread, and let's readjust the cap. Oh, are you done? I really, just go limp noodle on me. Why don't you? No. You done? I really am enjoying my reread, and I'm excited I have the Demigod Files, and then I believe I move on to the Heroes of Olympus. So I'm really enjoying this, and I'm looking forward to the new books later this year. Then I finished A Rover's Story, and I gave this book 5 stars. This is a middle grade sci-fi, and I absolutely loved it. It's about this rover called Resilience, and he's on his way to Mars, and he seems to be developing feelings, and we kind of follow his journey, and interspersed with his story and, you know, the narrative told from his point of view are letters from one of the scientist's daughters who worked on him. And I think that really brought such an interesting element. Like, she's writing to Raz, and it's interesting to get glimpses into her life, especially considering they both know who her mom is, and Raz grew attached to Sophie's mom. So I absolutely love this book. It made me cry. It was just such an incredibly amazing book. I really, really love Raz, and getting to see things from his point of view, and seeing kind of how he navigates life as this rover who is not quite like other rovers, and seeing the bonds he forms with pretty much everybody he interacts with, or everything he interacts with. So highly recommend this book if you like middle grade and you like sci-fi, and just an absolutely brilliant read. And I'm so glad that it was the group book for middle grade March. The only other update I have is that I've started Lucky Broken Girl. This is my book for a word that's not a Newbery, because this is one in a word that's not a Newbery, and it's a spring cover, so I went into it blind, so I won't be talking about it here, but I wanted to let you know that I started it. I'm on page 103, so I'm making a decent progress in this. And then my plan for tonight is to pick up Show Us Who You Are, which is my book for a neurodivergent character, because I believe our main character is going to have autism. The author is neurodivergent and writes really good autistic reps, so I'm very, very excited to be picking this up. And I believe this is also a middle grade sci-fi, so it should help with some of the fantasy genre fatigue. So I'm gonna go read, because this one is going crazy, and I will check back in with you all, hopefully without this one, just because, you know, it's so much easier to film when she's not in my arms. So it's now Thursday, and I'm going to wrap this vlog up. It's actually going to be an 8-day vlog instead of a 7-day one, because I basically only read like 20 pages yesterday. Yesterday was just not a good day for reading. And I have my trusty helper here, because legitimately the second I sat down to start filming, she came over. It's like she knew. So since I last spoke to you, I finished 2 books. The first of which is The Spooks in the Stack, which is the next book in the Lighthouse Library Mystery Series. And in this one, Lucy is investigating the death of an older gentleman who has returned to the Outer Banks and is looking at the Lighthouse Library as a place to donate some of his historical papers, and he ends up being found dead, and Lucy ends up looking into it. I gave this book 4.25 stars. I really liked the mystery aspect. I never cottoned on to who the killer was. I'm not as invested in the personal stuff, which I'm finding is becoming a theme with a lot of the cozy mysteries I'm reading. But the mystery is still intriguing, so that is keeping me hooked. It is also absolutely the thing I want to be reading, so I was really excited to be able to pick this up and rip through it. The other book I finished is The Demigod Files, and I give this book 4.5 stars. This is a kind of 4.5 or companion novel to the Percy Jackson series. Ow. And in this book, we get some interviews with various members of the crew. We get 3 little mini stories. It's just chock full of all kinds of little goodies, and I really, really enjoyed the way this was kind of put together and the little glimpses it gave us into some of the other characters outside of the core 3. And like I said, I really enjoyed all 3 of the little mini stories. As for other updates, any of the books I was reading that I haven't mentioned, I haven't picked back up. I started at Paola Santiago and the Sanctuary of Shadows. I think I'm 60 pages or so in, and I'm enjoying the start to this. This is the 3rd and final book in this trilogy. And then the 20 pages I read yesterday, surprisingly, are the first 20 pages of Last Argument of Kings. I needed an audiobook, so I decided to stick this on so that I could kind of slowly read it, because I wanted to give myself plenty of time to get through it before the end of the month. Ow. Part of the reason I didn't read yesterday is because I was sore. I believe in my B-roll I showed you the snowman I made, and part of what I did when I made that snowman was fall flat on my ass. My feet went out from under me, and oof, that was a rough landing. So yesterday I was really sore. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice right now, but my allergies are awful. And they were bad yesterday. They're even worse today. So I didn't want to film, but I decided to go for it. Anyways, because I really needed to wrap this up, and yeah. So that's it for my 8-day vlog. I feel like I'm kind of getting out of the slump because I'm able to get away from adult fantasy a little bit, even though I have now picked up an adult fantasy, but I have plenty that I can mix it into, and I'm hoping that the second half of the month will be much more inspired and successful, and I will find my mojo again. She just fell off of my chair. Oh, she back. Well, we're going to go and wrap this vlog up here. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me snowman emojis, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!